Hey traders, let's take a moment to thank and feature one of our top sponsors, FX2 Funding. If you're looking to get funded, listen up. FX2 is offering traders the chance to trade with up to $200,000 in simulated capital and receive up to 85% of their results. If you're interested in getting started, use the link being dropped in the chat or the link down in the description below. If you pass the evaluation, you'll receive your fee back and gain access to your new account. FX2 allows traders access to a wide range of assets and allows traders to hold their trades over the weekend. FX2 is giving A1 Trading Show fans 15% off the evaluation fee if you use promo code A1Trading15. So if you'd like to learn more, again, use the link being dropped in the chat or the link down in the description below and use code A1Trading15 at checkout for a discount on any of their evaluations. Now back to the show.
All right. Good morning, guys. Welcome back to another live stream. Got 228 people between the two channels. Just jumped up to 268. Good morning. Welcome to the stream. Big day here today. Probably the biggest of the week. We do have the core PCE, personal consumption expenditure, coming out here this morning in just about 15 minutes. So in this live stream, what are we going to be doing? We're going to be taking a look at some markets. We're going to take a look at some charts, taking a look at some data, and we're going to be reacting, maybe most importantly, to the data that actually comes out. I do want to say that a lot of times when I was kind of an aspiring trader, newer to the space, I would turn on live streams like this, and I would get frustrated that they would only react to the spike, but they would never actually discuss what the spike actually meant. So in my streams, I make it a point to, when you watch these events, when we react to the unemployment claims, as well as the core PCE price index, I'm going to try and give you not just, oh, look, it's moving up or it's moving down, but a little bit more than that. I'll try and understand, help you understand, if you're newer to this stuff, what these numbers actually mean for financial markets. You know, people are oftentimes, their idea of trading fundamentals is, oh, so you just watch for red folders and you trade the release, like you trade the spike. And no, not at all, right? The idea of trading fundamentals is, look at this number. Why? Why does this move the markets? It's because it matters. The health of the consumer is very, very important. Prices that consumers are impacted by matters a lot to the Federal Reserve. You can't really have a strong, roaring economy if people are getting, you know, really, really hurt by prices. So this stuff matters. It's real stuff. It's not, you know, it's very, very meaningful to the markets. And a lot of people will sometimes write off fundamentals. They'll say, oh, you know, fundamentals, they don't matter. You know, that's not, big money doesn't operate off that. And you know, I would really beg to differ, because here's the thing. These figures cause market reactions, and they can oftentimes stem market trends. This stuff is huge. So today we get core PCE price index coming out. The forecast is 0.4%. Previously, we saw 0.2%. This is a measurement of inflation. So let me explain really quickly. If this number is higher than this number, the forecast, if this number comes out really hot, what you'll probably see is dollar strength. You'll probably see gold go down. And, you know, for stocks, I mentioned yesterday that's kind of a question mark, because, I mean, truthfully, I would imagine it probably would put some pressure in certain interest rate sensitive areas of the market. Perhaps the Russell would sell off. Perhaps, you know, the Dow or the S&P might sell off a little bit, the NASDAQ as well. So we'll watch to see if there's a reaction there. Of course, we don't know what the numbers are going to be. We don't forecast what the numbers are going to be on these shows, because I don't think that I think that that's kind of a gambler's approach to news trading, right? When we say news trading, we're talking about taking in the numbers, understanding them, and building a bias, similar to how an actual money management group or fund would do. They use this data not as a one-off gambling opportunity, but rather as an opportunity to build a bias or a deconstruct a bias that they may already have on markets that they're watching. Anyways, quick look here across the room. We'll do this really quick. We're just going to switch over to all markets so we can have a look here. And So far today, what do we've got on the radar? We can see stocks are down. There's the Dow, there's the S&P, the NASDAQ coming down as well. You got the dollar index finding a low of a sort. You've got the euro coming down, the pound coming down, and gold has been coming down, but trying to find, it looks like, a bottom here this morning. We're trading at 2,032 an ounce. Oil, I am still long oil, doing okay. We're still in the trade, and we'll talk about that one for sure as well. So real quick, as we get started here, guys, if you could do me 2 favors. Number one, if you could just hit the thumbs up button, it would really help to push the stream out to more people so we can get the word out. Again, we're not trying to encourage gambling or anything like that. We use these streams as an opportunity to discuss the actual fundamentals of the market. What's likely to come next in the coming weeks, not in the coming, 30 seconds. At the end of the day, that stuff is it's very important, and that's why we go through it. Anyways, let me know which charts you would also like me to look at. Drop it in the chat. I'll do my best to get to as many of those as I can. And let's start with kind of a uniformly accepted one. Let's talk a little bit about the US dollar. The US dollar came down to a supportive level, and this wick low actually seems to be holding as a low for now. It's going to be either challenged or acknowledged here today with this PCE number. For the dollar traders out there, whether you trade currency pairs or you trade gold, this is going to be meaningful, because here's the thing. If you are watching the dollar index, right, and you get PCE, personal consumption expenditure. Here's the thing. This is, by the way, if you have not followed PCE before, you're newer to these streams. I know everybody knows about CPI. They know about NFP. PCE matters a lot. Although it usually follows CPI, and it is usually not as moving of an event as CPI, it has been many times said by the Federal Reserve officials that this is their preferred measurement of inflation. And so this number does really, truly matter. That's why it probably will move markets here this morning. So if you get a hot PCE read, meaning, again, prices are on the move up, right? A hot read would imply higher than expected inflation read. If you get that here this morning, that's probably going to be strong for the dollar. Why? Because it would suggest that the Federal Reserve may not be looking to cut interest rates as soon, and may even need to keep them at current levels for longer, right? They have not made their first interest rate cut. The market is wondering when that first rate cut is coming. If rate cuts are not coming anytime soon, boom, up goes the dollar. If interest rates are coming soon, interest rate cuts are coming soon, and perhaps if we get a cool read here today, maybe you look for the breakout of this dollar trend, right? I've been bullish on the dollar. U.S. economic figures have come out pretty strong recently, but this one has the potential to turn the tide. We've seen the pullback. Buyers need to show strength. Otherwise, I need to get out of my ideas on the long side for the dollar. So what we're looking for here is a break to the downside or holding this area. This number is pretty important, because if you get a surprise either direction, this thing is going to move pretty substantially. If you get like no surprise, don't be surprised if you don't get any move at all, right? If PCE comes out completely as expected at around 0.4%, then don't be too surprised if we see the dollar just kind of chop around. But again, this is why we watch these events. It's kind of like tornado watch, right? You don't know guaranteed that you're going to see one or anything like that. It's just, you got to keep an eye open, and that's why we do these streams. Again, we got 600 people watching the stream. If you could do me a quick favor, hit that thumbs up button. It really does just help to support the streams. Appreciate it. We had a lot of requests here. Some people want to see gold. Some people would like to see US 30. Couple requests for some currency pairs. So yeah, we'll take a look at some stuff. Please don't ask me to donate. I'm not going to be donating on the stream here today. This is if you need donations, you should not be trading. That is a straight up answer to your question. Donations mean you should not be trading whatsoever. Let's take a quick look at gold here. So gold, I do have a position on gold. I'm still in my trade here. This thing has not moved from the time that I bought it pretty much. It's just been back and forth. I'm trading GLD. It is an ETF. In the US, we can't trade CFDs, so I can't trade XAU USD on a regulated brokerage. So instead, I trade GLD, which is just the gold ETF on the stock market. So I do have a trade open. It's really, really small, but we're waiting to see what this one wants to do. So if I go back to XAU USD just for the analysis component, so we're holding support around this area. I am long. And if we take a look at the daily chart, my thought process is I think we could get back up to the top of this range. But I've also been pretty clear about this. In terms of this trade, it's a small relative size for me. So what I'd be looking for is potentially one of these guys, right? If you get this white drawing scenario, I actually may look to add to the gold trade, because that would tell me, hey, we might actually be breaking out of this choppy range that we've been in. I like the fundamentals here right now for gold. You know, if we start to see technicals that align with this, then I really like it to potentially add to my trade. I do like to add to winners. And I should clarify, check this out on the Edge Finder. We got USO on top. You love to see it. Gold up there as well. These are two positions that I currently have on myself. And I love to see that not only am I already in US oil, but the Edge Finder is giving us a very bullish reading. You love to see that. That's really great confirmation. So for those of you who are wondering how the Edge Finder kind of works here, it's looking at all these different factors. Like we're here gathered for inflationary data. The Edge Finder looks through a collection of inflationary statistics, and it generates signals, bullish or bearish, for each of your favorite assets. But then the Edge Finder also does that for economic reads like PMIs, retail sales numbers, GDP numbers. It also looks at the momentum in the market, the trend. It looks at the seasonality studies that we do. It looks at retail positioning currently. It looks at the commitment of traders data, and it scores everything up. And then it generates bullish or bearish readings for all your favorite currency pairs. The goal of the Edge Finder is to help traders who are newer to fundamentals pick them up much quicker and make them much simpler. If you'd like to try this software out, real quick, we'll drop a link in the chat. If you apply for this here, we'll drop the link. If you apply for this, it just takes a second to apply, and someone from our team will get you hooked up with a 30-day trial of our software to see if this would be a fit for you. So if you're somebody who's looking to use fundamentals, if you're looking to use the commitment of traders report, retail positioning, all sorts of other key indicators that we track here on the show each and every day, if you'd like to get a copy of this tool yourself, hit the apply button right here. Try out the Edge Finder 30 days. Okay. So there is your option. Lifetime price for the Edge Finder. Bonez, if you would like to work some information out, you can go to our website, a1trading.com. And you can also, we'll drop one more link here. If you'd like to chat directly with someone on my team about getting a copy of the Edge Finder, you can speak with a representative using the link here dropped in the chat. It is the Talk To link, and you can speak with someone there. Got a lot of stuff here to watch here, guys, but we are getting close. We're about 1 minute out from the news. So let me go ahead and switch over so that we can watch the reaction together. Got 727 people. Hello. Thank you for being here. Thanks for hanging out with me. Stocks are selling off here pre-news. Gold is bouncing. The oil market's flat. Look at the pound dollar, the euro dollar. Dollar index is staying strong at these lows, but we'll continue to watch that. Really interesting stuff here this morning, and you guys know we got to talk about Bitcoin as well. So yeah, we're coming in 30 seconds out to the news. We'll react to this, and more importantly, please don't go anywhere after the spike. A lot of people leave right after. We'll actually be interpreting the news after the spike happens. So don't go anywhere. That's when things really get interesting, and we'll go from there. We're coming in here now, so let's go ahead and roll our breaking news, and then we'll watch it. All right, guys, and core PCE dropping any second now. All right, and look at that. Gold just shot up. DXY came down here slightly. You've got NASDAQ slightly up, S&P slightly up. Dow slightly up. And why is oil not moving at all? Interesting. Pound dollar, euro dollar, gold up. We like to see that. It's going to tell me that maybe we had some soft inflationary numbers. Let's see if that is in fact the case. Well, claims came out soft. 215,000 claims compared to the expected 209. Core PCE came in as expected, in line with expectations. So the market kind of likes that. You can see stock market jumping on that. Same thing with the NASDAQ as well. These markets pushing up on that. Gold loves this, up to 2,036 an ounce. And that's from a low of 2,028. I mean, that's up $10 an ounce in just the last hour, which is not bad at all, as we are long gold and oil. Remember, got positions on both of these ones here. S&P 500 moving higher, NASDAQ moving higher, Dow moving higher, euro up, pound up, and look at gold go, guys. There we go. Let's go get full screen on gold, see what this has for us. My gold trade might be making a move now. There it is. Okay, so we're looking at gold here. Gold is pushing off here through the lows, wicked down here this morning, retested my entry area, and is now pushing up. Go ahead and pull up my positions here. We can look at it. So also, I am very also curious to see what's up with Bitcoin here this morning. So we got gold making a move up 469 bucks now. That's not bad. US oil is still above the 5,000 in P&L, so we'll continue to watch that one. Let's just look at USO. Here's US oil. And I'm curious to see what good old Bitcoin is doing here this morning on in line with expectation inflationary numbers. Does not seem to be moving the chart too much. Although I should mention, it's very, very low time frame here, but 15-minute chart moved higher on this in line with expectations inflation. That's pretty much what you would think would happen. Remember that inflation cooling, historically speaking with Bitcoin, has been a pretty positive thing, and inflation spiking higher has been negative because higher interest rates do actually have an impact on Bitcoin, it seems. Just look at 2022. It was a rough year. Anyways, let's see what else we can get into. Here's the S&P. Here's the NASDAQ. So NASDAQ and S&P are still kind of overall ranging. This week has not been, very exciting for the indices. I don't have any current trades on the indices exactly. I do have some options plays that I'm doing, but in terms of index longs or shorts, nothing there. Russell's doing okay. This is okay for our Russell put that we sold. So that's doing all right. We like that. The Nikkei, here's the Chinese stock market, the VIX, the dollar index. Again, let's keep an eye on that dollar index. Really kind of an interesting candle here forming. Dropped lower, coming back here a little bit. And again, keep an eye on that gold market. This is a good start here so far for the trade. I'd be really interested. I mentioned this yesterday. I'm interested to see if we can actually break through these highs, right? So again, I am long, but I've been in this trade for a couple of days, just watching it go back and forth. I'd like to see it actually make a move, right? I'd love to see it break through those highs and maybe start to kind of trend higher on this. So the question is, what is this news actually telling us here this morning? Let's do the breakdown. We promised we would do that. Thank you guys for those of you who have stuck around after the news. You guys would be amazed. When we look at this retention chart of the streams after we watch the viewers, that typically goes like this, right? This is the news, right? So this is, we'll put in for news, right? So the stream starts and then it gets up and up and up. And then as soon as the spike comes out, we usually see this. So it's like a volcano pattern. Maybe we'll call that Don't be a statistic. Stick around with us. We got some important stuff here to come. And really, I mention this often, but the real trading happens after news, because after news, you kind of get a more full picture of what's actually going on. So let's break down the key two things that we got here today. First of all, unemployment claims came out showing a little bit of cool in the economy in terms of unemployment. Now, this is not a huge miss by any means, but analysts were expecting 209,000 unemployment claims, people claiming unemployment, right? So this being a higher number shows weakness on the job market. This being a lower number showing strength. Well, you can see that we actually came out with 215,000 claims for unemployment, more so than what was expected. So in this case, you would say, ah, yeah, that's a little bit worse than what was expected, right? What is the impact on the dollar from this one? Somewhat bearish. It's not a huge miss, right? If this was like 235K, yeah, you'd have that's a substantial difference. But we're talking about a 6,000 difference. That's not massive. It's not meaningless. It's something. At the same time, core PCE, which is the measurement of inflation we discussed here this morning, core PCE was expected to come out 0.4%. It came out as expected at 0.4%. Where does this leave us? Well, it leaves us with status quo continues to be the case, which is, and I'll show you on the Edge Finder, because I think we have by the way, quick gold check. Look at that, making our move. Let's see what happens here. And look at that oil making our move as well. We've got stop loss trailed, and I did add to my position yesterday inside of the VIP room. We added more to the trade. So I can't lose on this position, and I'll come back to the inflation chart, I promise, because it is really important. But just a quick update on oil, because I haven't talked about it just yet. With long oil, I am floating currently. Let's check the P&L. Up $5,800 on this trade. This thing is moving. And I actually added, if you remember, I had 2,200 shares of USO. Okay, I had 2,200 yesterday, not 22,000. That would be ridiculous. 2,200 yesterday. I then added shares yesterday on this break and retest. I added shares. I'm up to 2,500. Okay, I have 2,500 shares long USO. My stop loss for all of them is trailed into profit. Let me show you the overall actual position. Here's USO. Here's my trade. So we are in USO, stops below structure, right? So I added on the retest here yesterday. And again, we were floating $5,800 overall. If this continues to push, I'll look to trail stops further into profit, but I cannot lose money on this trade at this time. So even if we come crashing down, it's going to be a profitable trade, which is great. Good spot to be in. And let's keep going with the thought process here. So I mentioned inflation. We're back to, I think, status quo, which what is status quo? Well, let's look. Okay. So the inflation story has been, okay, inflation came down pretty meaningfully, kind of mid-late 2023. Well, early and mid 2023. Then we kind of ticked higher, then we kind of ticked lower, then we kind of have stayed flat. So where does this leave us? Well, it actually, to me, kind of leaves me where we're at. We're not seeing momentum picking up to the downside, meaning, again, the target is 2%. The Fed is not necessarily an adversary right now to the story, right? They're not bearish outright for stocks because we do still expect rate cuts. But this does kind of push back continuously if we don't get this cooling inflation, which we didn't get today. We didn't get, I mean, we did, but we didn't get, a huge momentum to the downside. This is why, not getting this just yet is why we're not seeing stocks, gold rip higher, right? For gold to really rip higher, you do need to see inflation coming down. So what we would have liked for gold, and don't get me wrong, we're seeing a nice move here, but for gold to get a substantial move up, like for gold to go back and flirt with these levels, we need inflation to really start to cool again. In fact, if you really want to get crazy with gold, you want inflation to really rapidly cool to the point that the Fed starts cutting rates because they get nervous. That's where you see gold go to 2,500. But that's not the case right now. So we continue to watch that. That's the story. Again, people who are newer to this stuff, they love to kind of dismiss fundamentals because they're kind of complicated. They're hard. But if you want to see 2,500 gold, I can bet my last penny on the fact that it's going to move there on fundamentals, not on a technical pattern. It's going to move there because something has broken, something has changed. The fundamental story drives it there, right? So anyways, hold that thought here for a second. I do want to mention something really quick, guys. We've been doing something new here recently, and we've opened up our Discord server to the public. So real quick, we're going to drop the link to the Discord, and if you guys join it, I'm gonna do something pretty cool. We did this yesterday, and I want to go ahead and do it again. So if you join the Discord, I'm going to type something up. Some of you guys, today's Thursday, okay? Tomorrow we get the commitment of traders data. We're going to try something here today. Today, if you guys would like free COT data, send the word free COT to Emily. She is online and ready to help you. First come, first serve here, guys. She is standing by. Okay, so real quick, guys, I just dropped a link here for you in the chat. Well, Chandler did. Thank you, Chandler. Join the server, click Emily's name, and send her the message free COT. We're going to be handing out COT data. This is actually genuinely free. We have some available. Now, I will say it is limited. It's not all free, but we do have a component of our COT data that is being made free for you guys. All you got to do is shoot a message to Emily. She's standing by. She can get you hooked up with that free COT data if you send her a message. And you can also, just by joining the server, you get access to a whole bunch of cool stuff. By the way, inside of the VIP side of things, I will be updating my commodity trade. I mentioned that I added to the trade. So here was the alert that I did that I said we're now retesting broken resistance. I've just added additional size to my US oil trade. Stop loss remains in the same spot, and that I'll take profits if we do break support. So right now, the oil trade is just a monster, and same with gold. It seems to be coming alive. Let's see if that one can keep going. But yeah, kind of a crazy, it's been a crazy week. Crazy week. Bitcoin, I have a trade on Bitcoin that I'm in the VIP room. I'm in IBIT. We are currently sitting up over $1,000 on this trade as well. This one's been going on for a few weeks though. So this was shared here. There's the update on IBIT. Bitcoin, basically. I went long Bitcoin a couple weeks back, and this thing has just been straight shot. I do want to be clear, as I try to always point out when I show you a couple winners, I do not win all of my trades. I absolutely take losses like every other trader, and I don't want to come across as like only showing my winners. I mentioned this earlier, but or in recent streams, but before taking this oil trade, I had 2 losses before that trying to find the right entry. I was early again, and then I finally caught the real big ripper here. So transparency is important to me. And so for that matter, that is the full case on the oil trade. I was early twice, and then this third trade has made up for it and much more. So we're letting that one run. Gold continues to push. This has been awesome. Finally maybe seeing here, guys, the breakout that we've been looking for. This has been our problem. And now here this morning, PCE numbers seem helpful enough to get us up over. Here's the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ trying to come back and retest these highs around 18,000. We'll keep watching that. Here's the S&P 500, same sort of thing. Coming back to retest those. What's your opinion on the Bitcoin halving? I don't know. I don't really, to be honest. I have a Bitcoin trade, but is mostly on market sentiment rather than calling myself a Bitcoin specialist or a crypto enthusiast. I am probably one of the most whatever bulls on crypto you've ever seen. I don't have a huge opinion on Bitcoin. I'm not a super bull on it. But you might ask, well, then why are you long? You literally just said you're long. It's because I think that 2024 is an election year. And I think that the market sentiment has shifted from, we've really kind of entered into more of a risk-on market environment, at least for now. And risk-on environments, especially with cooling inflation and interest rate cuts on the horizon, has me looking at a lot of areas of the market differently. Right now, that means being long Bitcoin and trying to let this thing run for a while. If it does come back down, by the way, this is the way I'm thinking about it. If it comes down to my entry, I'm just going to close out for break even, which obviously would not be ideal. But if this thing wants to keep running, then I'll let it keep running. But Bitcoin has been a monster and really has surprised me as to how far it can go in how short of a time. There goes gold, still making its move here this morning. Again, remember my game plan, as I mentioned, is I'd be happy to add to my position if we can break through the highs here. A retest of those highs would be really interesting to actually add to my trade. So I have on GLD, for those of you guys who track ETFs like I do, I'm just trading GLD. It is the same thing as trading gold. Percentage-wise, they move about the same, but I just can't trade CFDs as a US client. So I'm trading gold, but in a slightly US-specific way. You could also do futures, but I just like ETFs. I've always liked WeBull, the broker that I use, and so I've just adapted to ETFs, and it's where I'm cozy. So it is what it is. Up 707 on that trade. And right now, again, it's not always the case, and I wish it was more often like this, but all of my trades are in the green, which is fantastic. Anyways, guys, in just a moment, we're going to bring in Miko and Marco. We're going to do a little technical breakdown with them. I'm excited to speak with them as we have lots to talk about. We got a lot of markets on the move. We got commodities moving here. We got Bitcoin making a move. Really, really curious to see what they're up to. So in just a second, we're going to bring them onto the show. We'll bring them into the conversation. And before we do that, we're just going to thank our sponsors that make this show possible. We do rely on Eightcap and FX2 and all of our wonderful sponsors to make this show possible to pay for all the lights, camera, action kind of stuff and the team that is involved behind this show. So real quick, we're going to thank the sponsor and we'll be right back with Miko and Marco.
Attention A1 Trading Show fans. If you're interested in getting free access to the Edge Finder or our premium trade alerts, listen up. For a limited time, our show's partnered broker Eightcap is giving out free access to our products when you sign up for a new trading account with them. If you already have a broker, you may want to consider switching to Eightcap because of their low trading costs, a wide range of trading assets, and their amazing customer support. If you'd like to get access to our software and Discord server for free, click the link being dropped in the chat right now and ask one of our team members for more information. Don't miss your chance for free products and an award-winning broker. Now back to the A1 Trading Show.
All right, guys, we got Miko and Marco back on the show. What's up, guys? How's it going?
Hello.
What is up? Hello, hello.
It's good to have you guys both back on, and good timing here today because we just had some pretty key economic news. And I know, of course, this is Technical Thursdays, trying to get a little bit more into the charts. But I did also just want to mention we have someone in the audience who is a super fundamentalist. We got Dan in the chat. What's up, Dan? Got a forecast as forecasted for PCE. I'd say mostly this is priced in at this point. Definitely an interesting one to see here this morning with PCE coming out as expected. But where you guys come in for sure, and I love this concept in this conversation, is that we do have a lot of people in the audience who are relatively newer to fundamentals, or they don't necessarily use fundamentals for all of their trading, but they at least acknowledge that these moves can cause, as you guys do, some spikes that can actually be tradable sort of events. So Miko and Marco, I'm curious to see what you guys have. We'll go start with Marco. Marco, are any of the charts you watch moving here this morning? And if you'd like to share your screen, you can kind of walk us through.
Yep. So let me quickly share the screen. So for me personally, I'm seeing definitely some potential with the technicals, with the currency pairs. So EU is the first one. I'm seeing this V reversal, which I'm looking to play out, give me that confirmation up, and then I'll look for buy setup somewhere here on the top. So it's definitely on the watch list. And then you have EJ, which is a bit corrective right here. I did want to see this momentum continue, but right now it's kind of breaking the structure. So I'm going to leave it alone. Aussie US dollar is, I was looking at this V reversal right here to play out like on the euro US dollar, give me a small range and then a large push down. That didn't happen, unfortunately. So I'm leaving it alone as well. Then AJ is looking really nice. I would say that there was major selling pressure. Right now, this may be just a little bit of a pullback. So looking for the price to continue, give me a nice short setup. I did not manage to get any high probability entries, but definitely looking at AJ. Pound is, for me, very flat in this general area, just very flat, very corrective, very range bound. And then the final one that I'm looking at is New Zealand Japanese yen, which is, again, printing lower and having these large bearish legs, which I really like. And I'm looking to get one more leg down, then look to sell. Again, there were some pullback opportunities, but none of them are really extremely high probability for me personally. So I did stay out of the sell opportunities. Again, this downtrend may continue for even lower, so I'm definitely watching this pair as well. And Bitcoin, I'm just watching it. I'm not really actively trading it, but definitely it's on my radar and looks like it's gonna start a bull market. That's at least what I think. It's kind of a cyclical, I think that's the name. So every 3 to 5 years kind of explodes up, right?
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because last time, Miko, Marco, we all three of us, we were really talking a lot about cryptocurrency, and you could probably clip those as kind of cool events that we talked about right before what ended up being like just a monster rip here. I've mentioned just before you guys came on that personally, I am like the most cautious and almost negative bull on crypto ever. Like, I acknowledge there's so many things I dislike about cryptocurrency generally, but at the same time, I also acknowledge that it's kind of a trading vehicle in the sense that it is the ultimate like risk on tool, like instrument, because when everybody is super optimistic and inflation's coming down and things look pretty good, and retail traders have a little bit of maybe extra money in their pocket, or they getting speculative about things, crypto seems to be flying high. So where you do have to be very careful with that, it's still something to acknowledge. And I mentioned this, and I want to ask you about this, Miko. I know I want to see all of your setups here today, but the first thing I'd ask about Bitcoin with you is, I generally think these moves, you do not fight them. Like, they're different in the sense that, when a stock becomes overvalued relative to its, price to earnings, or a currency becomes relatively overdone, maybe because people are kind of getting too crowded on what their central bank is going to do or something like that. Crypto is obviously, it can get overbought, but trying to measure at what point this thing is overbought seems like one of the most difficult things in financial markets when this thing is ripping. Would you agree? And I guess, what are your thoughts on Bitcoin right now?
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at Bitcoin earlier today on my channel, and a few people were asking me, is it time to sell? And I said, you're a braver man than me if you do sell, because this is flying high. And again, I get the idea because of where price is. We're approaching all-time high resistance, so it makes sense to sell from that perspective. But the way I trade in FX markets, gold and silver, I'm looking to flow with momentum, looking to flow with the trend. So when I'm seeing moves like this, I'm kind of waiting for a move back down, retracement, to then buy back up again. And until that trend or that momentum kind of dies out or structure breaks, that's when I'll fold my arms and potentially look to trade in the other direction. So for Bitcoin, I think there's a pretty high chance that we probably will go and take out some highs here probably and see some new all-time highs. How far we go, I have no idea. But yeah, for Bitcoin, as you said, looking to short here, I can see why people do that, but it's just very, very difficult to do it confidently, because price could just explode another. This current weekly candle, we could see another week just like that next week as well. Nobody knows. So I would wait for price to pull back to then long, But yeah, I wouldn't try and call the tops in Bitcoin at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. Before we move on to the next topic, I do want to come back to Mark on this because I want to ask your thoughts too about Bitcoin. One thing I would mention though is that historically, all-time highs, at least in the stock market world, which you guys know is like my favorite spot, is the indices. Historically speaking, all-time highs on indices, especially after a drawdown period. And I'm not just speaking off the cuff. There's a lot of studies. You could pull this up and find it on your own. I don't have it in front of me, but there are many studies that have been done that usually after a stock market rally and then a suspended period without a all-time new high, a return to that all-time high is actually a very bullish signal historically. Because now optimism has kind of been restored. This fear is behind you, and I guess investors kind of feel that the worst is behind us, and now we've made no gains, so now it's time to make some gains, right? So that's kind of the theory, and I don't have the research on that same concept with cryptocurrency by any means, but my best educated guess would be it's the same thing with cryptocurrency. If you have a prolonged, and we've seen that, right? You've seen that this sort of thing, when a new all-time high occurs, at least with hindsight bias favor in our view, that is a historically very bullish signal. So let's repeat that again. So when this all-time high gets retested, this one not so hot of an example. You would call that, I would say that's so that's kind of a suspended down period. So that one didn't work out too well, but here's the next one, and we're coming up to it now. So is it going to kind of do that pattern of the past where all-time highs are actually great signals or not? I don't know. Marco, what do you think on that?
Can we get a chart that's in 2015? Because I think in 2015 there was another bull run. I think this one goes only to 2015, unfortunately. If we can't, yeah, unfortunately. That's the case, but you're gonna see like the same thing happening 3 times in the last, I would say, 10 years. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to bring up that chart.
Here it is. Got it.
Yeah, so here is the same thing. You have the bull run, then you have like an extended period of very slow price action, and then finally when it breaks out with much force.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna happen again. It's just basic probabilities. So.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting and a remarkable. I mean, these are the sorts of things. Here's another thing I would add. And I know we don't usually talk cryptocurrency all the time on these channels, and I know that we don't obsess about trading it ourselves, but it is a thing of the times right now. And I want to mention something. The ETFs, right? We've talked about this before. I actually think that they are quite a bullish scenario for Bitcoin. Not just because, oh, cool, they're on ETF. Think about it this way. This allows for a lot of people to put Bitcoin without having to open up Coinbase accounts or other exchanges. The accessibility is a couple button presses away for millions and millions of people who can trade ETFs. I mean, I personally own some Bitcoin via IBIT. So I have, these are new things. These are new companies that basically hold Bitcoin on your behalf, which some people don't love. Again, if you're just an investment portfolio manager or you're somebody who's building a 401k and you say, yeah, put 0.25%. That's what I did. 0.25% or 0.5% in Bitcoin. That's now more accessible than ever. And with this generation, our generation likes Bitcoin, and you can't really dispute that. Older generations dislike it. And again, I'm coming from this place I'm not a super bull when it comes to crypto, but I'm also acknowledging what's happening. Our generation likes it. It's accessible in people's accounts more so than ever. And I don't know. I think it's kind of an interesting story to continue to watch. But
are you paying any fees on this trade?
Yes, there's an expense ratio to owning this, but it's really small. I actually think it might be 0.6% per year. I could be wrong.
That's nothing. That's really good.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyways, That's Bitcoin. Thank you guys for answering that. And we went through some of your other ones, Mark. I'd love to ask Miko same thing. Some markets on the move here this morning. Can I ask you about metals first? What do you think about gold? Are we going to finally start to see some momentum on gold? Gold and silver, either one.
Yeah, so I've been a skeptic of gold as of late. The price action hasn't been fantastic. Haven't really been looking to trade it, to be honest, and I'm still not too keen. I mean, I'm still very bullish on gold. I'm still looking for swings higher, but it's just the price action hasn't really done anything for me. The past kind of couple of bumps for me, this has just been up, down, up, down. And really what I'm looking for is for, clean highs like this. And then I'm looking for pullbacks in certain areas and then buy. So these are the conditions I'm comfortable trading in and which I look for, which maybe could be happening. And when it does happen, then I'll be looking for opportunities. But as long as we stay within this range, I'm really not too interested because I know momentum looks good now. But my question mark is what we do up here. Do we come back down again? Of course, that could be a nice place to secure some gains. But I want to see some more evidence that buyers are coming back into town. Because if we are going to shoot for gold, we have the wick high up here, which is 21.48 roughly. So there is a lot of distance to cover. So if I can get some pullbacks at some stage, there's still a nice risk reward on the table. But I'm personally long-term bullish on gold and silver likewise as well. Silver's hitting a pretty big level. We keep bouncing from this area. I'm kind of waiting for silver to really start breaking out of this mess as well, similar to Bitcoin, because we have been ranging for the past month or two as well. So once I start seeing something like this for silver, then I'll be looking to trade it too. But I'm expecting the same thing for both of them. Looking for longs, but yeah, just not a big fan of the conditions currently.
Yeah, fair enough. And I kind of see what you're saying about at least gold. I've kind of laid out my game plan. I short term found a trade that I liked in like the lower time frame, like the 4-hour, the 1-hour chart. I went long, but I went long with a really small position size on the account. The thought process for me goes back to what we've been talking about in the last few weeks, which has been this has been on the daily chart, at least, a pretty choppy chart. While I like the lower time frame trade, I also acknowledge I'm going to take it with a small size. And I've also mentioned that if it's able to really start to break some of the structure, I may actually add and get the full size position that I was looking for, which might sound confusing to at first. Why would you buy more of it when it gets higher? But I've been on this line of thought here recently, and I think all three of us really kind of trade this way. Instead of trying to always buy low and sell high, I oftentimes will actually try and buy high and sell higher. It doesn't work all the time, obviously, but if you're really trading with trends, you're not buying the lows, right? You kind of accept that if you're going to be trend following, you are following something that's already been moving. So, this thought process on gold for me is, let's see if we can actually really show significant breakouts to potentially add to the trade. And I'm also curious when it comes to gold versus Bitcoin, going off of our conversation, if there's some similarities here in that move, and if there's any correlation between the two. I'm very curious to see if that plays out. Anyways, I want to quickly give Marco the same question. Metals, maybe specifically gold. Any thoughts here today? And I guess from the 1-hour chart perspective, is there anything you see there?
Yep, sure. Let me take a look. So for gold on the 1-hour, looks to have broken out of this range right here and closed above, which is nice. But I would like to see this candle now continue to the upside. So I would like to see this continued, because this can easily just retrace. I have seen it happen a huge amount of times. Overall, like if I zoom out, it's definitely more corrective. It looks like the pound. So for me, the pound has been doing the same thing for a long time now, right? So it looks very similar. What I would wait is, I would wait for a breakout out of this price action, to be honest. Wait for a nice move, yeah, on the 1 hour you can trade the lower moves, or the smaller moves, but on a larger scale, like you guys are looking at, definitely a breakout out of this overall range. That is what I would look for 100%. That's why I like when price breaks, let's say, all-time highs like on Bitcoin, because it usually does continue when it breaks it, and it's like a thing that people have been researching for the past 100 years. I know from the book of Jesse Livermore, like a very successful trader, he said, like, buy all-time highs, because most people that lose actually sell on the all-time highs, and he actually made money, a lot of money, when he bought on an all-time high. So it's a good practice to do.
Yeah, it's a very interesting study, and I'd be curious when it comes to all-time highs too, if all-time highs that are fresh versus all-time highs that are kind of new all-time highs all the time. I wonder what the study would look like there too. Like, at what point is a time where you really, say, okay, you know what, enough is enough? Because at some point you do have to also look to kind of scale out of a trade. And I thought about that this morning. I was thinking about Bitcoin, and I was thinking, what do you do here? Because I you guys know I look heavily at fundamentals, but to me, one of the simplest things I thought about was, if you're wondering, if we all kind of acknowledge that this thing is a momentum driven vehicle, maybe the simplest way is to just trail a stop with like a moving average. Like, here's a 20-day moving average. And if you're longer term, maybe you look at this and you say a 200-day moving average. And maybe your approach on Bitcoin is you just say, I sell it when it closes underneath this, because that could mean 5 years from now, right? That could mean a year from now. It could mean 3 weeks from now, whatever it is. But I was just thinking about that, because I don't have, there's what I am frustrated by as a fundamentalist is that Bitcoin operates somewhat outside of my my scope, right? All my traditional tools, I'm like trying to mine diamonds with like an iron pickaxe, like that is like in Minecraft, right? That's like what I'm trying to do. So it's hard for me to really wrap my head around it. That's why my position size is so small. But just had a thought. I think, to be honest, the best way to manage this trade, tell myself when it's time to get out, is probably technicals. Just to lean in on, when this thing breaks its momentum. I don't want to get caught in another, kind of winter period or whatever you call it, if I can avoid it. I don't know, something to think about at least.
Would you be looking to add? Oh, sorry. Would you be looking to add on to your position if it breaks the high?
With Bitcoin, I don't know that I would add much more. In terms of my position, it's at this point, I think it's maybe like 0.4%, 0.5% of my overall kind of portfolio. So I don't really want to add significantly more than that, to be honest. If anything, to be honest, I would probably be more interested in, if I think that it's sticking around, looking to companies that would benefit from that, rather than looking at specifically the asset, which is kind of like trading the gold miners over gold, which historically has been a really terrible example. So maybe I'd have to look a little closer. Buying, this is interesting. Gold miners, GDX, right? Quick study. This is kind of an interesting story. Gold crossed against the miners, and let's get rid of that SM200 moving average. Over the long term, gold has dramatically outperformed the companies that mine it. So I guess maybe I'd have to think a little bit more about that. So good question. I don't know that it would be the same relationship, because crypto miners relative to crypto just itself, I don't know what the relationship is. There's a lot of real world costs to mining gold. So I don't know. Miko, do you have any?
Very interesting.
Do you have any crypto mining exposure? I guess to either of you guys. I know everybody kind of has that somebody that is somewhat into that stuff, mining side of things. I'm curious about either one of you.
To be fair, no. To be honest, I don't really know too much about that side of things with mining Bitcoin. So
yeah,
I leave that to the experts with myself.
Fair enough. I know nothing about it. Marco, what about you? Are you the guy?
No, I don't know anything. No.
Okay.
Don't
Well, you
know
can't
anyone.
say it on public YouTube if you are. So I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm just curious because I feel like everybody knows like that one guy in your social media circle that's just so into crypto mining. So you never know who it is. But yeah. Anyways, guys, I want to thank both of you for coming on. It's been a fascinating show here today as we went through a bunch of different markets. Lots of stuff on the move, and I'm sure by the time we speak next, cryptocurrency will be doing some crazy stuff, and all the other charts will as well. So before we let you guys go, real quick, I just want to let everybody know in the audience, we've just dropped the links to both of these guys' YouTube channels. They both put out wonderful content, and I want to ask you as an audience a favor. If you've enjoyed these guys' commentary, do us a favor here to the A1 trading side. Make sure to go subscribe to their channels. Make sure to go give them a follow on social media, wherever you can support them. That is, we thank these guys for coming on. We're not paying them to come on. They're volunteering to come and add value to the community. And so to thank them, please make sure to go subscribe to the channel and check them out. Miko, Marco, thank you guys both for coming on the show here today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys.
See you.
Yeah. And always good to have those guys on. Really, really loved hearing their commentary on crypto because, again, just taking the financial market talk by storm here right now. And look at that. I mean, we might be closing in today on possibly an all-time high, which is crazy. So anyways, yeah. Can you explain how the Edge Finder scores economic data? Yes. Well, I can't do it in a quick succession. It's got there's a whole algorithm. It looks through all of these different components: inflation, PMI data, retail sales, GDP, unemployment statistics. It looks through all of that data. It pulls it all into the system. It then algorithmically computes bullish and bearish readings for all of them, tallies up the scores, and generates a score which turns into a bias. That's how our software works in a really oversimplified format, because behind each one of these calculations is a full-blown several weeks of work on our side to build that system that thinks through market data. If you'd like to try this tool, if you'd like to get access to the Edge Finder real quick, I'll drop a link here in the chat. You can get 30 days by filling out this form here, and check that out. Anyways, we'll do one more thing too while we're at it. If you guys would like to join our Discord channel, it is free to join. We're going to drop the link to that in the channel. And by the way, some of the GDX puts that I sold yesterday seem to be doing okay as well with this gold pop here this morning. We are long gold in the VIP room. We're long oil in the VIP room. We are long Bitcoin as well. So if you guys would like to get those updates, you can join the room. We just dropped the link here in the chat. And then real quick, while we're on the topic here, let's do something. We'll give something away for free. So for those of you guys who are just joining now, I'm going to just remind anybody who missed this. We're giving out free COT data. This is not, this is genuinely free stuff. Reminder, get free COT data by sending the word free COT to Emily. She is standing by. This is someone on my staff who is able to help you guys. We're giving out free access to the Commitment of Traders data this week. If you send a DM to Emily, just click her name, just type the message free COT, and she'll get you hooked up. Okay. Thank you guys for watching the stream. Again, click that link, join the Discord, send Emily a message if you want that. There's your chance to do so. Just go in the new channels. New members channel, and you'll find that message at the very bottom. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up here. Thank you very much for tuning into the show today, and hopefully you got something out of it. And we'll of course do more of these. We got another stream coming tomorrow, and all next week should be a big one. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Thanks again for watching today's show. Our goal at A1 Trading is to continue to share free value to our audience through daily videos and articles, keeping you up to date with the latest market coverage. If you enjoy our content, make sure to subscribe for more. From all of us at A1 Trading, have a great day, and we'll see you next time.